You may notice that your bathroom sink drain is draining a bit slowly, and so in this video we're going to go over how to remove the stopper from the bathroom sink, clear out the debris, and then reinsert that stopper. Now some of the vanities will have just double doors below, and when you open those doors you'll be able to see the drain lines. Others will have a drawer like this, and so we're going to need to remove the drawer to expose those drain lines before we can pull out the drain stopper. So to remove the drawer, we're just going to have to open it just a bit, and on the bottom side of the drawer there's two orange tabs that you could actually just feel if you just stuck your hands under there. We're going to want to grab both of those orange tabs, push them in the outward direction away from each other, and we'll want to be pulling the drawer when we do that. It will release the drawer from the two hinges. We could just go ahead and push those two hinges in to get them out of our way. And this step now we'll be doing after we clear the drain, but I'll just show you now. So to get the drawer back in, when the hinges are pushed in, we're just going to lay the drawer back on top of the hinges and just push the drawer straight in. And you may have to jiggle it just a bit to get it in evenly. And now you can see that it's back on the hinges, not going anywhere. And so that's how we're going to change that, pull that drawer out and then reinsert. And so now we're ready to remove the sink stopper. And to do so, we're going to go under the sink, and to the line here, we see this little brass cap. This brass cap is what's actually holding the stopper down. And you also see the stick that's attached to it. This stick is actually what controls the stopper stick above. So we head back under the sink, and actually unrelated to the video, but we see this U-bend in the drain line. That's what's called a sink trap. And so for your information, the sink trap, what it does is it traps water after you run water in that sink in that little U-bend, and that prevents any of the building's sewage odors from coming up and out of your sink. So, you know, people always say when they get home from a trip that they have a bit of a sewage odor. I always just let them know all they've got to do is run a little bit of water, let the area air out for about 30 minutes or so, and the smell will dissipate. So that's why there's a U-bend underneath your sink. Okay, so we're ready to remove that brass cap from the drain line, and to do so we're just going to unscrew the cap, and it's going to be, if you're looking at the drain line, it's going to be in a clockwise motion, clockwise turn, and that will release that cap. The next thing we're going to do is pull the stick out just slightly, and it actually will kind of stop itself, so you don't have to worry about it kind of falling out. On this metal stick, you're going to see a little white rubbery plasticky ball. The purpose of that ball is to stop water from coming out when you're running that sink out of this hole here. And so that cap presses that little rubber ball firmly into the drain line and acts as a water barrier. So now that we have that metal stick removed, if we head back up to our sink, we'll see that the stopper is kind of has fallen down into the sink. You should be able to use your fingernails to pull the stopper out now, or you can grab yourself a butter knife or something like that if you're having trouble and just kind of pry it out, but it will come out pretty easily. Okay, so now for the fun part, we're going to pull that stopper straight out, and unlike this stopper here, yours is probably going to be pretty gross, you know, especially if there's someone living in the in your place with longer hair. The hair gets caught up on this stopper, and so that's what's actually slowing down your drain. So what you're going to want to do is remove that hair, and please don't put it down your drain or flush it down your toilet. It's only going to cause problems for your own drains and the building's drains. So just toss that into a wastebasket. Go ahead and rinse it off, but remember, you remove that rubber ball from the back of your sink. So if you're rinsing this thing off in a sink, make sure that it's not the sink that you're working on, because now water can just kind of pour out of the back of that drain hole. Okay, so if we take a look at this stopper, we see that it has a little loop on the bottom. And so the purpose of that loop, that's actually where that little metal rod that we pulled out before will fit into that loop and prevent it from pulling up or, dropping down. And now we get to the somewhat tricky part of this job here. And so what we're going to want to do is drop the stopper back into the sink, making sure that the loop is in the correct position to be caught by the rod below. We're going to want to stick that rod back through that loop. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have one hand below on the rod and the other hand on the stopper. And you want to have that stopper up just slightly and keep kind of pushing the rod through and seeing if you catch that loop. And if you don't do it, just give it a couple of tries. You will catch it. You'll know that you have it when you can't pull that stopper straight up anymore. Okay, and with the magic of video editing, since this is most definitely a two-handed job to catch that stopper, I went ahead and caught the stopper, and so I gave it the tug, and the stopper was not coming out of the sink. And so the next step after you have that stopper in firmly is to reattach that brass cap that's found on that metal rod. And so all you've got to do is pull it back up to the sink. It may take you a second to align it properly. You're going to spin it in a counterclockwise motion and get it on there nice and snug. And that's that. You just successfully cleared out your bathroom sink drain. You could go ahead and give it a tug. You can see that it's in there nice and snug. Run the water, make sure that there's nothing coming out of that cap below, and that should be running nice and smoothly for you. As always, if you have any questions about this video, please leave them in the comment section below. This way, if any other resident has the same question, it'll be answered in the comment section.